depends. Are you trolling Rob over something? If you're trolling Rob, he gets his feelings hurt easily. Joshy Josh. Exactly. It looks awesome from one angle, then you move it. It was like a 4-year-old painted it. Exactly. That's exactly what happens with fucking Volkite coins. Coin coils. Alright, so got the wrong colors out for this guy, but fuck it. Let's just flip the script a little bit, maybe work on some accents that I've been wanting to work on. So I bet I can make some of the paints on this work without having to make too many changes here. Let me just rinse my brush off. Love Minnie's trolling him most of the time. Yeah, if you troll him, he'll get his feelings hurt and he'll be snippy. Just rinsing it down because I've left some conditioner on it. Alright, so I wanted to paint these skulls, and I think I can just take... I have some brown here. I have some bright warm gray. This is just from painting Death Guard. So this will be a nice warm base. This will work as like a warm skull workup on these, and I should be able to just kind of brush it right over the skull. See, I just used bright warm gray and brown, so it's like a nice, just basic ass tan kind of color. Chris the Snag, thank you for the follow. Chris is a snag. That means next level painting is human. It's hope for us all, Joshy Just. So just using light brush pressure and some little stipple strokes, like mostly heart pool. Just gonna carefully paint this guy. And since we painted this guy all these like really nice grays, because he's a Space Wolf, it's always so fun to see how easy paint sticks to gray. So I wanted to just jump around and catch a few details because I decided that these skulls are going to be in the natural spectrum. And we're using a pretty light opacity mix too. You'll also notice if you're painting over gray like this that you can get away with really low opacity for a really good stick. So I'm going to just jump around and get things that I want in this spectrum, like the little skulls inside this thingy. It's like a little, this is like little reliquaries or something. Is that what these are called? There's a bunch of human bones and stuffed inside some religious fucking gift box. We'll just go ahead and sheet this color into this thing as well. Rotate the model, look for the heart pool. Semi-opaque, not that wet is kind of my mix right now. It's almost like a more opaque glazing right now. But you see over gray, man, it's just a dream. That's why I try to keep most things carefully still in the gray when we were spraying red and stuff, because I love painting right over gray. You see, we can even build up opacity and almost get some highlights going here without even changing the color. So you just kind of build it up, make some real nice blends. Okay, he's got this huge, goddamn, like showstopper banner. We're gonna have to make sure that thing comes out good though. So, got some brown. I'm gonna start a little darker on it. So introduce more brown into the mix than we've had. Just because I want to budget some real estate to drop in a little bit more drama. Because how girthy this thing is. Mostly working little heart pull strokes. Try not to get it on the armor. Just being careful, little stipples. Try to just reach in there deep. Okay, so now I have more ways to budget real estate because I gave it a darker starting position. Warlord N7, what's up, man? What model is this? Exclamation point spiky resin. Got a link for you, brother. So now I'm going to introduce more of the bright warm gray. See, this is what color we were. This is what color we are. Lower the opacity, semi-opaque, take some moisture off. Just gonna do a simple bottom and top highlight. Nothing too crazy. And so it looks a little wacky at first, you'll see that. But once it settles down, it won't be so unbelievable. Because it is ultimately composed of the exact two paints. It's this brown and this bright warm gray. This is also brown and warm gray. This is brown and warm gray. They're the same fucking colors, just in different quantities. So a lot of people, they skip around. Oh, I need this ivory to highlight this fucking warm gray and then highlight that with this white. You know what I mean? It's like, or we can acknowledge that the same two colors can literally be infinity values. And you don't have to overcomplicate edge highlighting or blending like GW wants you to do. Not that I'm mad at GW. I think they did a great job making people feel brave to start their model journey. But blending is what people come to me for in my private classes, is people are like just nervous to blend because GW made them nervous to blend. So I'm just using that brighter mix. Moving through the model. So what I'm going to do is maybe get a little bit more water here. Kind of split the difference between these two puddles. I'm just going to see if I can get a little smoother finish to this blend. By kind of targeting the shadow area. But again, it's literally the same brown and the same bright warm gray. It's just different values. So I'm just targeting different zones, you know? So let me steal a little bit more of the bright warm gray into my little puddle. I'm going to just dry up my brush a little bit. I don't want it to be super wet. I want to be careful here. I was not careful. Be careful, Kenny, be careful. My hand is super heavy-handed right now. Just hitting that like bottom rim highlight. there. Throw a little bit of love right there in the skull. So just building up a quick little blend. And I'll probably move out to the small brush here in a second and just kind of finalize it with some hard edges. I like to take my time with this technique. We're basically just kind of half-ass glazing is how I describe that. Low opacity. Took some of the moisture off. Ray Pray in chat. What's up, brother? JDA. Let me rinse the brush a little bit. Switch to the little brush. I'm gonna grab some of that bright warm gray raw dog with no brown in it. It's much brighter. Semi-opaque, a little moist. Not too much though. And I'm gonna use this, and I'm trying to be as careful as I can here. Okay, go fuck up. Using a heart pull. Look at that fucking line. Whew. Pull back straight to your body. Wow. A little fucking tracer right there. Wow, son. So, it's like we're keeping the paint not wet, but it's not necessarily super opaque either. I put a little moisture in it, lowered the opacity slightly, took that moisture off just a little bit. And again, if I can reiterate this point, if anybody is struggling with the concept, which I don't know if they are or I'm just speculating, but again, this new highlight is not new. It's literally the same color. It was the bright warm gray. So like the relationship is strong, the respect is high. And now that if I see any of my lines got too fat, which they did, I can go back in time to this puddle we made earlier, find something a little bit more respectful, and I can go in there and kind of temper that aggression with just some stipples and do a little band-aid right there. Quilla says, sorry, I can't help it, but those missile pods behind his head frame, where he looks like a musketeer. Totally. The Phoenix Greyhound, you're going to be working on some Black Templar. Nice. Rottweiler, Space Wolves? Yeah, man. You weren't here yesterday for this? You missed our streams, dude. Okay, let's just stipple in some eyebrow highlights on our skull right here. Let's get in a little bit of cheek highlight. Let's rotate here. Let's get top of dome highlight. Let's get some fake teeth draggers. Pow, pow, pow. Under the nose. Again, it's not a new color. We're still just using that bright warm gray. Same thing. Let's just stipple in some eyebrow love. Let's get our little dome, get our little cheeks and nose, drag in some teeth. Too easy. Now this guy's bigger, so let's be a little bit more respectful. Remember we were using brown initially. So I'm going to take that same brown, our bright warm gray. I'm going to try to be just kind of respectful to the how big the real estate is. So I think this is a little bit more respectful than straight raw dog. But I'm going to just be kind of fast and loose here. And I just kind of went back in time for a split second. The brown. So that way I can kind of blend off of it while it's still a little wet. There we go. Did I sleep for a day and miss something? Rottweiler? Yeah, we stream on Fridays, so I did a stream. And then I taught my lesson with you like within 30 minutes of ending the stream. So I was live already for 3 hours painting this guy yesterday. So right, we actually did edge highlighting together yesterday. So right now you're seeing some more advanced versions of that, where the only part of the definition I'm utilizing is I'm trying to lower the moisture content, but there is a glaze. I can combine glazing and edge highlighting to get pretty solid blends where I'm not utilizing a super opaque blend here, but I am keeping it relatively dry using a little heart pull, stipple, and just building some really solid highlights. Here I'll just use straight stipple. There's some bones in here and this little reliquary. Just kind of drag down on those. Let's make sure that we can make this bigger skull look a little better too. So I'm gonna go back in time and do a glaze edit. Now I'm gonna grab that bright warm gray again, and while it's still wet, stipple right off of it. Glaze edit. So I want our skulls to look nice. So I have a little white here just floating around on my palette too. So I'm gonna steal some white, put it in the bright warm gray, and do a final couple of slices. I'm gonna get real tight, high opacity, low moisture. So this will be definitely our brightest highlight because we actually put white in it for once. And I decided that all the skull iconography, I don't know how fucking words work, would be like in the warm white spectrum. Ah, oh, fuck. Kenny fucked up. I fucked up twice. I got white out of bounds. I put white kind of fat on this one eyebrow because I didn't take the time to move the model. I was lazy. Shit happens. So I'll go again, just take a step back to the gray with the brown in it. Just kind of run a little quick glaze edit right there. That's just going back a step and just stippling up against that tide line. Rottweiler says, I was so into painting, I just missed it and then did our class. Yeah, I did some on Ragnar and some of the correction methods. Good, man. Okay, so I need to fix the field. So let me rinse the brush. take some. Is this black? What the fuck is this? I don't know if I trust you. Yeah, I think it is. So let's go in there and fix that. Now, I'm not entirely happy with this one skull. I feel like it's a little on the weak side. Especially the eyes. I think I could take some of this brown and get in there a little bit. Maybe get in his nose. Alright, I'll let that ride. Now, just moving around, catching the annoying details right now. So he's got a chain, which we got to do. But also, look, I fucking totally forgot there's a big-ass skull in the shoulder pad. Tight. Tight, tight. So what we were doing was this brown, which is probably just black brown if I'm guessing. Some of this bright warm gray. That's a good base right there. I'm going to use my paper towel just to make sure I'm not excessively wet. Let's lock in here. Just kind of using light brush pressure. Just kind of walk it down. I'm always doing small strokes straight to my body. Little heart pulls. These are important. They give you the most control. So there's a quick base coat right there. Now, as far as this side, there's like a Roderick shield situation. I don't know what the fuck. I mean, I might just paint that gold. That makes sense if it was gold. Unless there's another color I should be using. Is there a secondary pre-heresy color besides red? There's laurels. I want to paint those green. Or reefs or whatever the fuck they are. I don't know, man. So let's now introduce a little bit of more bright warm gray to the mix. So same color, just brighter. See, we're just gonna kind of repaint it, skipping around, making slight emphases on things. The tuna, 96. Oh, the big tuna. What's up, brother? Okay. Just again, let's see if we can build some nice blends into it. Focusing on those eyebrows again, cheeks, some teeth, stipples. Let's get the dome highlight. Boxing that frame out, you see. Just brown and bright warm gray. Reprint, not a lot of colors. The reference sheet I found, sent it to you in Discord. Black, red triangle feels sometimes. So really much is just red. Red is their primary accent color. Snag a little bit more bright warm gray. So we're just doing some kind of slow and steady glazing techniques. Keeping it kind of wet though. Kind of lazy glazy. We steal some white into the mix. Go back a step. Probably let that ride and then introduce some clean white edge highlights to it. Let's see what Reappraise sent me in Discord. You sent me something in Discord, Reappraise? A reference sheet? Well, that's the brush. Skull City, baby. Let's get some straight up white. Oh no, I got red in my white. Shit my cereal. Alright, let's see. Black, red. Got it. So nothing. So just adding that picking. So honestly, that shield should be black. So what I'll do is make it black. Frozen Hobbit Space Wolves can be pink. Be brave. They can. You're right. Oh my god. Here's some gray. I think that this is black, just kind of watered down from last night. So I'm gonna put some of that, mix those two together. Kind of repaint this shield with gray right now. The dark gray. And it kind of looks like a triangle, right? So I want to make that the obvious black kind of triangle that War Pigment was talking about. So as an accent, take like that makes sense. This go into black. And once I get that set up, or while that's drying, I can actually honestly bounce around. So, I mean, this is how lazy I am. I'll just take this green right here. Maybe add some of this light jade to it. Maybe a touch of brown right here. And now I'm going to paint these actually in the green spectrum. And I'm just using light brush pressure, little heart pulls, semi-opaque, just wet enough to get a spread so this isn't annoying. But I decided a long time ago that I wanted to go with that classic actual painting, like the actual, like it's been painted by their artist fissers. It's not just gold relief. Light brush pressure, keep control of your angles. Don't get it on the red, don't get it on the red. It's too fun not to paint it that way. Cletus, Ben 405, Dogcat Jones. What's up, brother? Okay, let's get these two joints right here while we're letting that shit dry. All right, rotate, try to get set up so that you can just focus the camera. We're gonna target lock, Heart pull stipple strategy. Here we go. Pulling back to my heart. Skipping. Reload the brush. And I just picked up literally some bright yellow green off my canvas. A little bit of jade and brown. And that's this green. Move it back right here. That might be a little too wet. When you see it's a little too wet, just be careful or dry your brush up. It's up to you. All right, so we laid down a quick pass of just some random ass green on those laurels while we're waiting for this shield to dry. So that we just made the shield gray. So now I'm going to take some of this black and we'll just send it. It's kind of watered down black, like almost, it might even be transparent black or just cold black that sat on my canvas overnight. But I see how I just filled that field with like watered down black, like a wash. Too easy. Let that chill for a second. And I can do the same thing on these laurels even, where I'll take some of the brown, some of that black, a little bit of this moisture right here. I'll even steal some of the green for respect's sake. Semi-opaque and a little wet, kind of brownish green here. Just let it find its way into the recesses on that fucking little reef situation. Semi-opaque and a little wet. I'm just putting it right up along this stem and letting it get inside the little leaves like that. You see that? Washing is a technique. It's not necessarily a product. I talk about that all the time. If you memorize the definitions from my classes of what goes into each technique, you'll never get in trouble. You understand how? And then part of the classes is basically training you to understand how moisture behaves at all times when you're painting, and that makes you a good painter. Like in short. If you're never surprised by how the moisture behaves, you're always in the clear, baby. So I'm introducing this little like quick pin wash game on those reefs, so then I can come back and do like a more stunning highlight. Sullivan, known oil all over. Oh yeah, that's after I'm done with all these details. I'm just gonna cover this guy in known oil. That's obviously the move. All right, so now that our little crest, the black in our little crest is kind of settling down. What I'll do now is kind of detail it out because we decided it's going to be black. So look, I've already got some like kind of blue over here. Got some black. I put a spot of gray. So I'm going to make this blue-gray mix right quick. Make it a little blacker. And I'm just going to quickly drop a high opacity, low moisture edge highlight. We're using the tracer technique right now, right in that rail. Flip it back to the center. I'm going to paint the sword. High opacity, low moisture. I'm going to go a little brighter. Stipple, stipple, stipple. Now I'm going to use a little bit more of this bright, same exact version of the same exact paints, just more of the white, or I would say probably blue. Now, there are some nuts in here, so I'm going to stipple those nuts. Nut, nut. Just like that. Now, we're probably going to get a little bit blacker than that. Troublesome. What's up, man? Rottweiler says, moisture, moisture, moisture. So critical. That's right, brother. That's what we worked on last night together. So, okay, so look, I'm going to use the heart pull Rottweiler. And I respected it more, right, by adding more black in. Making that cool little, like, inner field ghost line. You see that? And look at this. I'm just going to be, like, really crazy about it. Put it around the sword even. Look. Look at that wiliness, right? So, I made it respectful. Drew those lines in. And now what I should be able to do is kind of go in with a high opacity, brighter version of that. I should be able to tighten the fuck out of it. So I should be able to just say, hey, like right here. Right here, by doing little heart pulls, saying it's brighter there. Brighter down at the bottom. And now we got a little intrigue in there. So, and I'll smooth it out because I have this technique called the glaze edit. So I'm going to get a little whiter, a little bluer. I think I'm almost out of white here. I might need to put a squirt of white on the old palette. Ben's trophy, Ben's tropine. What? What's up, man? Troublesome. You've been thinking about picking up some 40K and painting it. It's kind of intimidating. Yeah, it is intimidating. Oh, your boy Frozen Hobbit just gifted you a sub, Troublesome. Show that man some love. All right, so I'm going to get a lot whiter here, guys. More opaque. Let's just drop a little bit on the edges right here first. Okay, using the trace. That was the trace technique. Now I'm going to use a little heart pull on the sword. Stipple, stipple, stipple. Now I'm going to try to get as tight as I possibly can. Okay, now what I'll do is take some moisture again. We'll go back in time, something a little darker. Maybe even back a little bit blacker than that. What we want to do is you want to lower the opacity. Take some moisture off, and I can go in here and I can kind of curate some of this by introducing a little Band-Aid filter over some of those excessively brighter zones. Kind of fuzz them down just slightly. I could go back a step further to where we got a little blacker. And I can run a quick seam. And make that shoulder pad just a little bit more intriguing. So I want to put at least as much effort into our straight black shoulder emblem just to bring out the contrast layers, because it seems like black is their only other accent color, really. Sullivan. Yeah, no, we're gonna dry brush this thing, lead Belcher after this. 100%. 100%. Okay, speaking of doing dry brushing, you could try to dry brush these little fucking reefs, but I'll just go back to that bright green. Remember, I just put some green, some of this random jade color together, and then I added some brown to the mix. That's how I started with our green. So I'll brighten it up a little bit. I might even put a speck of white and gray in it, just to desaturate it slightly, make it a little brighter. And I'm going to be very careful here. We're going to use high opacity, low moisture, tip of our brush, using more of a sewing machine action. Stipple, 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 stipple. A little bit of a modified heart pull. Got a little on the red by accident. That's to be expected. Okay. And I can clean that up easily enough. You know, there's always a fail rate with every paintbrush stroke. And, you know, when you do like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 strokes that need to be like less than a 16th inch long, you know, you're just playing with fire. Then another 6. And then now we're going to use the pure heart pull to get that lined. And now, so all we did was we laid down the green. We made some of the dark stuff darker with our fake pen wash. And then we made the bright stuff brighter with a highlight. That's all there is to painting. This shit's a 3-dimensional coloring book, baby. Kindergarten rules. And obviously that's oversimplification because you need to learn some techniques to put the paint down, which is what I'm talking about right now. Using a mostly opaque mix of paint where I mitigated some of the moisture on my brush. I'm using a technique where I rotate the model so that every one of these strokes moves back straight to my heart, which is why I call it the heart pull, which I find you have the most control. Here I can run a quick rail tracer. There's another one of our brush strokes. Hold your breast finger from right to left. Flip it back. So now I need to put like a border around the reefs in the field of red. Okay, that's important to me because it's not enough to just have this, you know, green painted nice and clean over the red. I need to separate it from the red. I need a better border. To me, that's what contrast means. It's literally just separating elements of the model so they are viewable. So we use burgundy. That's what I remember from yesterday. Yesterday is a blur. So we used the new Monument burgundy for sure. And I think we just added black to make it darker. Is that how lazy I was? So we'll add some black. Yep, that's what I did. So semi-opaque and a little wet. That's a wash. I'm trying to find that because I know this will respect the burgundy because this was part of the paint job anyway. So I'm going to be carefully semi-opaque and a little wet, get right up against the green, but stay on the red side of the green. And I'm going to just drag a little ghost shadow there and lift it from the model. Just putting a little black border around it. Or it's not black, it's actually burgundy, which is the color that's already there, just darker. So that's the right way to do a pen wash. Don't just pull some black wash out and try to drag a black border around there. It looks black right now to your eye, but it's actually burgundy with some black. So it's maximized to respect what's already there so that any mistakes you make will be invisible. If you just put pure black wash here and try to do this, every time you made a fat line, it would look like shit. But anytime I make a fat line, it just blends into the the burgundy. Same thing against the shield. Let's put a line right there. You see how like now those laurels just pop right out of the fucking field? Remember, anybody who's new here, you're gonna want to at me, so it highlights if you're trying to ask me any questions directly. Now, also, let's take more black into the burgundy mix. So this is black, burgundy, semi-opaque, a little wet. Did I already do a pin wash there? There we go, just pin washing right up against that border. I do these ones a little bit more aggressively if I can get away with it. Because there's like such an obvious little crevice. So like even the frame, I just made it have more contrast by putting that dark line there. The skull. Pin wash right up against it. Separate it from the red field like as always. And again, that's just mahogany with black. Why do I keep saying mahogany? Burgundy. The new burgundy. Brand new expansion color. Let's get this guy. Let's get our little pin wash right there. There. This one's tricky. There we go. So now those shoulders are looking tight. Clean AF. Now, if I'm willing to go that dark, like into the pin wash, what about the highlight side, guys? Oh shit, Rottweiler, you got your monument paints in the fucking mail. All right, burgundy. I think I used a little bowl parallel to get it brighter. So, we know at the brightest, I was willing to take burgundy all the way up to Bopyro. So these two little reds right here, this is our main red right here. So just swirling a little bit of this obviously brighter red in. And what I'm gonna do is make a semi-opaque, low moisture mix. And I'm just gonna do a quick heart pull here and I'm just praying. So the reason I defaulted to semi-opaque was to withstand any mistakes. Instead of like a truly totally opaque mix. So when I put these little inner field highlights in, it's important to keep the dark line that I just drew in there intact. You're not trying to run up against that line. This provides a whole new world of contrast capabilities when you draw this like kind of fake highlight up against your pin wash border inside the fields. Man, that shit is so sick. And this is just my first ghostly line, right? This is just my playing it safe line. Almost like shit is just like embedded in it. So I'm gonna get more burgundy in the mix. A little bit of black, because that is what's going to respect how dark I am up here. So I'm going to drop a line right there. Semi-opaque, kind of dry, hard pull. Respect the real estate that you're in. That real estate's almost black. So this is the highlight to that real estate, and this was the highlight to the lower real estate. See how they're different? And it's literally just burgundy with black in it, or burgundy by itself, or burgundy with bold power red. Those are the three paints that always are going to compose the red on this model, so I can never get in trouble when trying to come back to it. Okay, now that I got those ghostly lines in, we can push it a little further. Okay, a little bit more burgundy and bold pyro. Okay, let's see what happens here. Boom. You guys see that? Pow, son. Keeping it tight. We're not trying to go too hard here. I'm trying to keep the space off a little bit on the subdued side. In some ways, because it is sort of a desaturated pre-heresy feeling. So I chose my colors specifically. Chose to use this burgundy instead of like our normal excessively bright red workup. And I actually think it looks pretty fucking cool. So we're going to be careful on this side too. Shout out to D-Russ. Thanks for the follow. So, nice little highlights in the fields. Now, we can go a little tighter if we want. We can take some of this white, mix it right into the red. And I might do this just the tails, the wisps. I'll show you what I mean. Just like, maybe like here. Got a little off kilter there because I was holding the model in a weird way. Wasn't following the rules. That's okay. So all you gotta do, so you see how my line got a little irregular. Just run it back. Previous steps. Lower the opacity. Just use some water and let's the glaze edit, baby. So semi-opaque. Mostly low opacity though. And I'm just gonna glaze right over that. And kind of diffuse it to be a little brighter. And it's still a little wacky right there, so all I need to do is kind of see why, and that means I need more of this burgundy and black mix right here. Just gonna walk that in there and correct it, just soften it. So anytime your lines get wacky, you just don't even worry about it because you have the ability to just try to create a quick filter and fix it. And even if you're doing all this like drama like I'm doing, I know that this whole workup is literally just two reds, black and white. So it's not too difficult to kind of guess what I need to do to fix something. P.T. Lowry. Is there another one of these guys? There's a paint spill by your left hand underneath that bottle. There's a paint spill by my left hand underneath that bottle? What? Oh, this thing? This is water. Thank you. All right, let's try that again. Okay, I'm gonna run back into this white I made. White, red, pink. And I did not get what I wanted done here. I had to fix this shit. I fucked it up. So I'm just trying to slice in some brighter action. But just kind of keeping that action toward that one direction. Oh my God, brush, stop. So now that I've established the white, I'll go back. Some Bowl Pyro. Lower the opacity substantially, like water the fuck out of it. I'm just gonna resaturate some of that white and blend it into our paint job. Keep it fully in the red spectrum. That's let it dry, just feather it, let it dry, feather. GC Lowers in chat and PT Lowry. We got two of these guys. Look at these guys. Just feather it down. So we're stealing the white for its value, resaturating it back to red, and now we got some pretty shoulders. Shoulders are important. So honestly, it's the money shot of any Space Marine style model, is how baller are your shoulder pads, in my humble opinion. That's kind of like the situation. PT Lowry, you're not interrupting me. This is my job to interact. I still have all sorts of metal to paint that we haven't done yet. We've got these pipes up here, so I'm thinking gray, black. Because, I mean, God, what other color? I mean, I don't want to introduce too many wily ass colors, because then it's not thematic, right? But it should be like black rubber, at least. Okay, how about this? I'm going to take some jade, green. Let's make a black-green mix. Okay, let's carefully run in here. Hose. Probably should be using my bigger paintbrush. I'm being lazy here. Switching brushes. So, kind of made my own tire black kind of color. If you guys remember that color from Secret Rope Miniatures, or from the old days. I made it kind of like tire gray. It's kind of just a rubber. Put a little green and blue in the mix, and then you kind of like a sci-fi rubber. So we got to generate. We got to make it have more contrast than that. There's like nothing to it right now. We've just begun the journey. Okay. Quick question. I'm slowly starting to practice with an airbrush tomorrow, getting inks for it. Recommendation, Daler and Rowney versus Liquitex. Those are two available at the local art store. Those are inks? I mean, Liquitex is fine. I don't think it matters too much. Okay, before I get into too much of the highlight threading, actually, let's take this Raw Dog watered down black situation. And let's see if we can just carefully embed it into these slats. With some quick heart pulls, semi-opaque and a little wet, just to generate some contrast. Semi-opaque and wet. It's funny that in my base coat, it's always even dried on this guy. I'm just being careful. And you know, let's also take some of this thin down black and try to get a little pin wash going underneath the hose. See that? Okay, now the highlight game is going to be important here. So I got this straight up green right here. Green, gray. Let's see what we get here. Could like lightly dry brush this thing easily, I think, if you had the right dry brush in your arsenal. But I actually enjoy painting like the coil hoses. Nodus 306, am I into strongman at all? Yeah, I get into it every now and then. I know Eddie Hall and Bjornsson are supposed to finally box. I don't know if it happened yet. I was watching their shit talking the other day. I don't know if it occurred yet or not. No, that's the big pro. I know the internet is basically about internet celebrities boxing because it pays more money. Today in 1 hour, it goes down. Nodus. You know, it's funny. Like, I think the only reason people like Half-Your Bjornsson is because he was the mountain in Game of Thrones. Like, by all accounts, he's kind of a dick. And I've watched some shocking, just things that make me disappointed in his sportsmanship and his angle shooting in competition. Like, while I think the guy is a hard worker and amazing at what he does, like, I feel like he's kind of a poor sportsman and I don't like that. While I like what he does, I just don't see how he's going to beat Eddie Hall in a boxing match. I've been following Eddie Hall's career for like the whole time I've been loosely into into sports at all. That dude has always incorporated boxing into his training methodology since the day one. How is a dude in like a year going to compete with that? Like, I want the 6'10" guy to outrange him and shit like that. It's just not going to happen. I think it's going to be embarrassing. I think it's going to be really bad. But impressed that Hafthor Bjornsson, I think this is like I think moving into boxing, it's like, even though boxing's really bad for your brain, these celebrities are only doing like 3 or 4 boxing matches. What this forced Hafthor Bjornsson to do was like lose 200 pounds. Like, so he's going to live like 10 years longer than he was before. Let me just do another round of highlights. Center mass, center mass, center mass, center mass. Look how cool the little hose looks now. See, I wanted the hose to be green, and I engineered a way to make it green without it being like super obvious. Kraken, you think Eddie Hall would gas himself? Possible. I mean, I definitely would be surprised if he doesn't go super hard on the bell and try to fucking embed, because he genuinely does not like Hafthor Bjornsson. He feels like that he's angle shot him, gotten free passes at competition, and has achieved placings that he didn't earn. Like, he does not like the guy. So I think he's gonna try to embarrass him right out the gate. Which, if he doesn't embarrass him, then he might get gassed, because he is huge still. Or maybe I was like, TB, Thor Bjornsson. I just have watched Hafthor's boxing journey, and unless he's deliberately leaking bad videos to the internet so people think he's deliberately worse, I just think, I mean, he's just not a gifted boxer. He doesn't have the mindset for it. Like, he doesn't have brutality. He doesn't have, I mean, like, what you don't need to be a boxer. Like, he doesn't have crispness, speed. So if you're going to use your height to outrange somebody, which he doesn't do, maybe you got to have some killer instinct. If otherwise, like, he doesn't have any of those things, and he doesn't have any fast twitch muscle, nothing. Like, whereas Eddie Hall, even though he's not like, some prolific boxer, he has at least incorporated heavy bag training to focus mitts into his workout regimen for the last 20 years. So a guy who does that, like, hits a heavy bag and then gets head movement exercises and accuracy training from focus mitts training, in addition to cardio, like, that guy is literally just supremely better than from 20 years of doing that, Like, every time I watch Eddie Hall do anything in practice demos, I'm like, that's shockingly deadly. That's so fast for how big this dude is. That's insanity. Never once have I, like, raised an eyebrow at Hafthor's speed, And I know Eddie Hall got injured too, so maybe that plays into it. Dyslexia, that's what we were talking about. I mean, I've been following that for like the whole time, like since the day that the beef started. Andrew's Army, Eddie Hall is stupid explosive. I know, it's insane. Brookwall Studios, yeah. Eddie Hall was like he was a swimmer. Didn't he play basically every sport? Okay, since I'm here messing with this, what's the stock eye color for Space Wolf? Is it also green? Oh, it's blue, according to this document. So let's get a little white here. So first things first. Oh yeah, he was totally a swimmer though, I remember that. High opacity, low moisture, heart pull. Wow. Rotate the model so you can get that angle correct. You don't even need to paint the whole joint. You just need to kind of get that, just that top surface of the lens done. Just like that. So I'm tired of looking at his like lifeless eyes. And we haven't done any edge highlighting on the grays or anything. I'm just focusing on details and getting them out of the way. I gotta paint these chains at some point. What I probably do is actually paint them. I'm gonna paint them brown first, I think, because I actually want to warm them up too. I don't necessarily want these chains to be like flush as blue silver. I want to possibly leave behind a little bit of gray and brown kind of mixed together as I top coat them. Try to just getting all these fun details locked in. So the fight's gonna start in 1 hour. Maybe Hathio Bjornsson will get knocked out while I'm still alive. JBZ, exclamation point, spiky resin, baby. Okay. Okay, I think before we're going to do a whip session here in a second, and I just want to get that chain locked in real quick. So that kind of makes the front of this guy done. So here's our dark silver. You know what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a little metallic medium, which is basically like pure glitter medium. In my opinion, it's metallic white. Like, it's basically metallic white, which is fine for these purposes. And dark silver is metallic dark gray. So I'm going to start off by taking some of the dark gray, or dark silver, and just kind of flicking around the chains and getting just the tops of things, leaving some of that gray and brown that I engineered in there behind. See that? So I don't really have to get maximum coverage here if I just flitter around, get tops of things. It makes the chains look like they're utilized, you know, for, it's like, hold me back, I'm a chain beast. My chest. A bloody chest. Okay, let's take some of that metallic white. Let's just kind of stipple some textures in, just to break it up further. Boom. See that little trick of pre-painting the thing this textured metal thing? By pre-painting it, it meant that the metal part of the paint job was just highlighting. It wasn't coverage. It's the same strategy I used on those other Contemptor dreadnoughts. Remember, I painted everything black before I painted it silver, because that meant when I do the silver, it's just the same concept, flicking around. So those chains look really dope now for a couple seconds of work. Let me rinse it down. I think this is just straight Army Painter Strong Tone, the wash. This is actually perfect for this gold. So I'm going to stipple this around some of these nuts. Exclamation point whip if you want to jump in on a whip session after this round of washing right here. Jump on our Discord server, show me what you've been working on. So get those, wash your nuts. Never forget to wash your nuts, guys. And when I'm using straight raw dog metallics like this, I do really love the Army Painter washes for this stuff. But I'm being very careful not to like kind of overwash anything, because I want that shiny luster to still show through. The fight is on Twitch, War Pigment? Oh my god. Really? I guess because of all the delays, they're just doing it for free now. Let me just quickly hit these big ass nubs right here. Are they doing it for charity or something? Or they're just... Because I know their beef had to have cooled down at some point, because it's been so long. And they had to keep canceling it because of COVID, right? And then it got canceled when they were actually going to do it because Eddie Hall got injured. So imagine they're like barely mad at each other anymore, now that I really think about it. They're probably just like going through the motions at this point. Wash your nuts. It's a restream, so they're doing it on like every platform. I mean, fucking what the hell's that? God damn it! What's the name of that guy? Luke Paul or something? Jake Paul? Something like that? Best boxer in the world? Logan Paul? Logan Paul, best boxer in the world. That's right, that's what his name is. Wow. What's going on here? So, what Pigment? Eddie Hall said something mean about someone's mom. Logan Paul basically reevaluated the market of value for what combat sports is worth, just like Conor McGregor did. So because they showed that you can basically sell pay-per-view tickets on YouTube and make more money, and like off of that brand, that basically a fighter who's getting paid $50,000 in the UFC is like, fuck this. I'd rather do that. And so that's where you're seeing this trend, like it's just smart in my opinion. Like these guys are doing these World Strongman competitions. You know how much hustle goes into making money at being a World Strongman? Like, holy fuck. They have the potential to generate a beef, tour that beef. And that's why I think the beef kind of peaked, and I'm almost don't even care about it anymore. But basically, when it was at its peak, that they would have made more money in that 15 minutes of boxing than their whole careers potentially. It's genius. Conrad's on. What's up, brother? Model's looking sick. Frozen Hobbit says, got a couple hours to kill before work. Hell yeah. Eddie told Thor to calm his mom down during a press conference. She was super unprofessional. What just so she was so Hathor Bjornsson's mom was like shouting obscenities or something crazy to Eddie Hall, and Eddie Hall was like, "Get your mom in check." Nice. But even that's such low-hanging fruit, man. Come on, dude. Like, your mom is like embarrassed, is going off the chain, and then this dude's like, "Get your mom in check," and then you blow up. That's like almost scripted, dude. Come on. It's like basic. Andrew's Armory. Thor should have the advantage any other day, but I don't know. I was watching his videos. He cannot box, dude. He's been practicing with coaches, unless he's deliberately. But the thing is, we saw him box Devin Lariat or whatever his name is, the armorist. He's not fast. He doesn't know how to use his range. He doesn't know how to stay outside the box, and he has terrible footwork. He moves backwards. He never circles. Like, he's a super tall guy who doesn't know how to use his height advantage, and he's super lumbering and slow. Eddie Hall, when he punches things, like, bags explode his shit. Like, all Hathor Bjornsson has is like leverage and power, but no speed, or leverage and strength, but no power. Like, he's unable to combine it. So I think, honestly, believe in my heart that Eddie Hall is going to put those knuckles on fucking Hathorn's chin pretty quick and put him in a situation he's never been in before. Like, because who has actually ever punched Hathor Bjornsson in the face? Like, hard. Has it even ever happened to him in his entire life? Andrew's Army, but his height and size should give him advantage any other time. No. I mean, he lost a ton of weight so he can move and have cardio, but your height in boxing only matters if you're trained to keep somebody in that distance with your jab. Because if your arms are 89 inches long, but you don't have speed, because speed is actually how fast your hand comes back to your face, not how fast it leaves. Right? So if you're unable to keep people at the end of this range and snap back and keep your head moving, you're actually at a liability against someone who's like Eddie Hall, because his whole deal is to cut off the ring and get in tight. Well, when you miss with 90-inch arms, you miss for like a whole second, right? And then somebody who fights on the inside, like left hooks and shit, that's like Mike Tyson 101. You have to train hard to use height advantage. And like, I don't see that from Hathorn's fucking fight videos. Unless he's deliberately misleading us. Frozen Hobbit, what if professional boxing embraced the dramatic elements of wrestling in order to increase audience engagement? Yes. All right. You guys want to do a little whip session? So I feel good about this because now we can finally see all the elements on this guy coming to fruition. Just got to get these guns done, get some robot details locked in, and we're off to the races, baby. Now, if you've been following me on the old gram, I've been also painting 3 more Volkite Contemptor Dreadnoughts. So I've been painting a ton of for me. So I'm on schedule. I said by the end of last night I wanted to have guns done and the tentacles that wrap around the guns done. So I got the gun effects done. I discovered the new worst shape on the on models, which is Volkite, Forge World Volkite discs. Because these coils are not like normal plasma coils. There's always like one angle that's perfect. Look at that. Pow! Pow! But it's literally a bunch of little like discs. It's so hard to paint. No matter what angle I look at, I always discover a new angle I don't like it at. So they annoy the fuck out of me. But I'm not going to put... I'm just done with them. I'm like, I spent like 4 hours on these. Like trying to make them look perfect from every angle. I was like, oh, I see what's happening here. There's literally like 10 discs in each of these. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. And I'm basically looking at every viewing angle on 80 discs times 3. I'm like, stop. We're done. This is good enough. So I stopped. So I hit my goals, and now I'm working on edge highlighting and pin washing. As you can see, this guy has some extra stuff that this guy doesn't have. So now I'm going to go through, do all that. Then I'm going to do some weathering effects, get the bases done, get the edge highlighting done, all the shoulders and everything. And so tonight, tomorrow, and Monday, I need to be done by Monday. That's the goals. So edge highlight, pin wash. Give myself basically a day per Contemptor moving forward. And because I'm trying to be ready for Adepticon. And so those Contemptors, they're going to be painted more like how this guy is painted, which is like my Speed 101 technique. Pin wash, edge highlight, clean. Pop. So that's the rank and file. Anytime there's more than one of something in my army, it uses more of this traditional 101 technique where I kind of cheat in cool effects, but ultimately it's just edge highlighting and pin washing. But anytime there's only one of something in my army, like a big one big thing, it's going to be more like this, right? So I'm going to crack out on it. So since it is gray, that's a pretty good place to just get some good stick quality. And I want to see if I can... Remember how I was talking about resetting the real estate to brown first? So I think we can get a lot out of this brown right here. But I feel like I can get a little orangier than that. So what I'm going to do is take a little transparent... Like I want a little weather in there. You know what I mean? It's an old piece of equipment, right?
Hey, are you Dirty Mike and the boys?
Your caps! Rub your dicks on the car as you run away! We are gonna have sex in your car! And we'll have...
Hashtag Dirty Mike Life! Exclamation point. Soup! Chaos Cav says, pick yourself up and not some smeared off ice. Get in first. Get in first and ice yourself. So I should just go in and ice myself. Be first to market. Chaos Cav, you're such a gangster. Or Pigment, your Plagueburst Crawlers and Whip. Let me just look at it real quick. I'm not going. I'm already locked in. Rottweiler, that's the whiskey you want me to get. Or Pigment has posted. Oh, you did your blue tentacles. You did your blue corruption. Good job. Good job. Locking it in, homie. What are you going to do? You're going to do like an oil wash? What's your plan? Most Magic said, talk to you, dude. I thought he showed you Abaddon and you went Chaos for Life. We had to talk me into it because I thought it was stupid. Finally, he was like, I'll buy you anything you want with my allowance from this hobby town. I saw Abaddon, a Chaos Sorcerer, and Carta Betrayer. I was like, these guys that I'm in. And here we are. So a little transparent orange and brown. So I'm going to just kind of get a nice orangey or brown setup here. Well, semi-opaque. I'm going to do is I'm going to reset over these parts that are going to be robotic. And you can go in a little transparent here of a gray. And I'm just going to send some thin down, be careful, thin down brown in there. and I don't need to be that careful, right? I don't need to really get max coverage because gray works really well as also like a grime component to metal, to metallics. So I'm just going to kind of loosely top coat some of this gray with a low opacity mix and kind of preset our warm tone here into that gray. And you get great stick from gray. See, that can be real loose here. All this like robotic components, just gonna run some quick low opacity streaks on right into the gray. And if you just take a few minutes to do this, you're usually gonna get better results. See this, just keeping it fast and dirty on these robot parts. Come on, brush. Keeping it loosey-goosey. On the back. Just a little black, brown, and orange mixed together. A little bit of moisture added, and you'll see, look at the stick we're going to get right here. Even though it's basically almost wash consistency. What is going on? Who's on a redeeming frenzy? You guys keeping it gangster. I gotta get some gift bags sent too. I'm hoping to do a bunch of shipping on Tuesday night, and then put it all out when I go to bed before I have to fly in the morning. I unfortunately have to fly to LAX this time because the Burbank was just causing me too many problems to fly to Chicago. Which it fucking pisses me off. Now let's get a little bit more. You guys are going nuts in chat. Now, robot feet, you know, I was thinking I was going to just paint these feet kind of the same, like, I mean, goddamn, should the feet be like gray shoes or should they be all just robotic? Like, I know for sure this stuff will be robotic. I'm gonna definitely do this stuff kind of in the back. Exoskeleton or under frame superstructure. Burbank or bus, man. Flying out of Burbank, this time Sacred Fifth, like the only, like, it was like literally I can get to Chicago in like 3.5 hours from LAX or 8 hours of total travel time from Burbank. So I'm just gonna Uber. I got like a real early flight, so I'm just gonna Uber to LAX at like 5 a.m. You know. The Huff, for me to drive to LAX, based on timing, could be like 28 minutes to 100 hours. What do you guys think? Robot shoes Metal or gray shoes? So this is all going to be robot shit here. So again, I'm not committed to coverage. I'm just trying to get this weathering and introduced here. And like, since these are like old ass, you know, relics, I'm definitely going to engineer a little warmth into it, you know? I find this to be much easier than just try to max cover it. Reach in there, some wet ass brown. The metal. Gray shoes of metal chipping, Talon says. LT, yeah, exactly. I fly out of Burbank usually, but this time it's just because I can go straight to Chicago in like 3.5 hours. I'm like, Okay, I'm just inspecting some areas. Oh, there's some trim down there I need to still do. Let's do that. Let's do here. So you get the gray interacting with the brown. Looking good, looking good. Some junk back here. Gonna just jump in here as well. Just streak in here. There's some gold I still have to do that I'm seeing here. So there's definitely got to be I have to paint this. I will see. We still got a lot of edge highlighting to do. We haven't done any real edge highlighting on any of the armor yet. So I don't want to get ahead of myself. J Duval, you out of here? J Duval says, great stream, have a good weekend. We have to run along, thank you. Oh, I missed that. Much love, brother. Okay, people. Okay, let's do the shoes metal based on popular demand. So let's just get like right up to here. Maybe leave that part gray. that. Keep it nice and wet. All right. Good enough. Talon, I read your shit. Oh, it's probably an old comment. Talon, thank you for your comment. Now, guns, these big joints, we have to do some glowy shit. I kind of feel like black is the answer, honestly. I mean, they are big relic guns, too. So let's just see what happens. Let's just kind of streak some of this in. They are some pre-heresy shit. They've been maintaining these things for 40,000 years, some shit. Same gun. Let's get some, engineer some warmth into it. Just kind of flicking it in there. You see nothing too crazy. It's funny because I just painted all these, like these Volkites. Ah, so much better. They don't have the coin bullshit. All right, tight. So we have I have a little dark silver out here. I'll get a little bit more going. Talon says, so plasma just a better choice over meltas for conductors? No, they're twin Volkites. Twin Volkite cannon. See, they're not, they have, you see, you can tell because they have a coil here, coil on the top and the bottom. So that's the Volkite carbine or whatever, or Culver. They do look like shotguns, love minis. Here's some dark silver, okay, guys? So now what I'm going to do is just kind of carefully jump around with some dark silver. And I don't need to worry about coverage now as much. I'm just going to kind of get it in there best I can. Look. And I'm okay to let it ride dirty. See that? I just barely did anything. So instead of having to painstakingly paint this silver and get maximum coverage and completely worry about it, it was already gray. I streaked some brown in, and now I'm just kind of just loosey-goosey, kind of just sending some dark silver over it in kind of a patchwork. Leaving some of our gray and brown behind. And that makes painting the metallic bits so much fucking easier. Now, because I got lucky because this guy was gray. My Death Guard ones were green, so I had to reset the real estate to black first. Kind of just real tight, get it all black first. Because it's just so deep in there. This guy's an easier paint job than the GW officials, for sure. So easy. High opacity, low moisture, just kind of running some quick flicking actions. little fake dry brushing right there. Nothing too crazy to write home about. Too easy, baby. You can see there's a nice textured quality to the metal. See, where I've allowed just rough and tough pieces of brown to show through. And then if you want to go back and do a little wash tech, you can. But typically, I don't worry about it too much. Like, I'm totally fine with that. What the fuck is going on with this headset? Pissing me off. That's right, Sacred Feth. He has a nut armor plate. Alright, right here. Just going to kind of stipple all around it. I've made the paint a little wetter for better spread here. A little bit of moisture again. Kind of heart pull it down. Just loose. Look at that. Real nice finish there. Too easy from the front viewing angle. Let's make sure we get a little bit in there. Super fucking convenient technique. So I was actually going to paint these. Forgot to paint these. Have to come back to them. Just kind of loosen it. Block in some of those metals there. Okay, let's get on the robot arm up here now. Okay. So I'm going to kind of just follow some of the structure here. Just walk down. I'm not necessarily trying to engineer a whole lot of the orange brown in there. But you see, it definitely gives us a nice beaten metal kind of look. It's not like it's rusted or anything. You know, it's definitely used. Kind of stealing the warmth. And just getting a real nice, easy sense of volume. Imagine like trying to perfectly paint that shit all perfect metal. And then let it dry, then wash it perfectly, then try to edge highlight it perfectly. This is just a good cheat code. Make sure you're using a suitably dark silver for this first pass. That's kind of what really helps improve that visual connection between the dark gray and the dark brown, is also having a dark silver. Let's get some random doodads here. Some shit up here, just drag into that. Two very different things. Is it nut shotguns or nut shotguns? Recoil. Two different things. All right, let's get the guns in the front. Now here, what I may do is rinse this brush off, maybe move into a more traditional dry brush method. I may just take this right here and just kind of carefully kind of just go with the grain that direction. God, I wish the Forge Roll one looked exactly like this one. I'd be so jealous of how these Volkites paint up. Albinosaurus Jones, what up, brother? 7 minutes left in the show, man. I'm almost out of time. We're just doing a quick cheat code metal technique here. Let's just tighten up some of this stuff. Just dark silver. Keeping it beat up deliberately. Giving that 30k armory. Relic. Easy way to establish our metallics. Oh, I need to get this foot right here. So, if you're just tuning in, we get all of our grays with the airbrush, right? Who that? Who that? Master Pets? Get some strong man-loving chat right there. Bring in the hype train. What's up, guys? Coming in right at the end. About 6 minutes left. And we just did this huge cheat code on metal where the model was sprayed with the grays. Then we cut things in, and then all the grays, all the superstructure that's metal now, it was gray. We just loosey-gooseyed like a quick orangey brown glaze on it all real fast. And then we just kind of barely painted it with metal. And now we've got all of those like robot elements embedded pretty nicely with just a low-key dark silver. And now I can go and take my dark silver and some of this metallic white basically. And if I want to move around and just kind of stipple in just some high points, like so, we could just move around and just draw attention to some areas that matter more to us. You see? And it's just real loose, keeping it real gangster. Anywhere you want, you can throw some right here. Stipples. And now we're not really worried about coverage with our metals because we got all that pre-engineered warmth and weathering. So Now it's just about just adding a little bit of texture here and there. Like same thing right here on this foot. Well, since this foot's like front and center, we'll probably just be a little bit cleaner with it. Probably get like a highlight established a little bit more perfectly. Like that. Kind of just get that box frame done. Like so. But I mean, this has been 2 streams of painting. We probably have about 5 total paint hours on this guy right now. Between 4 and 5 total paint hours. Not too bad. Mass Pets did a big orc on Gnash Tooth today. Fuck yeah, dude. Shout out to Dang. Thanks for the follow. Wilk. Ogina. Wilkie. Waddy. Okay. Dub O Dub. Okay. Triple Dub OG. My Tau Miniatures minifigures when saw it came to life. Now you're running away on the edge of the universe. Yeah, man. For sure. So, welcome to the show. Right now I'm just sending some of that brighter metal, just kind of roughly stippling it in, kind of adding some bonus texture. Forgive the mono pose, static pose I put this guy in. The model's actually quite dynamic. I was just in a rush and kind of put him in this lame flat-footed stance. We did a straw poll, and you guys picked pre-heresy Space Wolves, and that's what got us to this. We also got to use some of the new Monument Hobby Wave 4s, like burgundy. And I'm just sending some nice stipples in, loose. Yo, Cletus, my dude. Thank you for the support, brother. Appreciate the tip. Always feels good and validated. Validating when someone finds value in your work. Appreciate it, man. Mass Pets, wait. That's a Son of Russ? Yeah, pre-heresy Space Wolf color scheme. Shout out to Cletus. Yeah, this is a dynamic gunline pose. LT's like LT nailed it. So we technically have a little overtime on the clock right now. But this is where we're at. Now, this is actually, the model is actually pretty cool and dynamic. You can pose it all sorts of different ways. Exclamation point spiky resin if you want to order it, the whole bundle kit. But you see that model, very dynamic. I slapped my Volkite guy together and he's just like, suck it, nerds. Blah, 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 blah. Well, basically, I would just jump around and reinforce this metal until I'm happy with the texturing. See, it just like try to get that natural feeling because we're keeping a kind of desaturated palette on this guy. I'm pushing contrast as hard as I can, as I always do, but we're trying to stay in a certain wavelength. And so I'm going to keep it that way, but respect that. Now, 50 seconds left in total for our latency clock. Shout out to my man Cletus for that support. Appreciate it. Let me turn the light down. See, the gold came out real nice. A lot of airbrushing, back and forth. Real easy model to paint. I can't say enough good things about how easy like these blocky models are. Like, I love them. Sacred Feth, not 1 foot up on a big dumb rock pose. Now just standing in one place, locked his legs. He's just blasting you.
You gotta get swifty.
About 8 seconds of overtime. I'm putting the paints away.
Get swifty. Uh-oh. You gotta get swifty.
There it is.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Take off your pants and your panties. Shit on the floor.
Looking good. This guy's coming out sick. What a fun model to paint. It's so much different than all the super micro details. Like I said, if you're just tuning in, I'm actually painting kind of on a deadline for Adepticon 3 triple Volkite contemptors, 3 double Volkite contemptors for my Death Guard. And so I've got kind of a schedule to maintain with these guys. And these are actual forge rolled Volkites. And they suck. Oh my god, dude. Look at the coils. Look at the teeth on these coils. You have to paint like every dimensional plane of that coil. Like, think about that. It's like 100 of them. So those are frustrating. That's as hard as I'm going to go on them. Right now we're in the edge highlight pin washing phase on this guy. We still haven't done it. He's still missing a ton of edge highlights, but I did meet my last night goal, which was gun effect and tentacles painted on the guns. So I got to go through and do more. But like, I was working these guns for way longer than I thought because of that stupid coin slot fucking Volkite. And no matter, there's like a perfect angle, right? Where when you look at it, you're like, oh, dope. Look at it. Bling. Look at how they just turned on. Like they're glowing. But then there's a moment when they look like they're not painted at all. Because there's like so many planes. Each disc. You know? So it's like, I was working it. And then I was like, you know what? That's it. I'm done. I'm about to sink like fucking 10 hours on just that. LT for sure, but look, you can't get your dry brush inside it. Like look at the depth of this fucking coin. Like it literally goes it's like literally the entire length of this paintbrush inside each one of these teeth. So if you don't establish a full 360 paint job on all, even the primer, like I primed these guys and was noticing that there was still just pure resin down in the cuts and some of these angles that you couldn't tell until you were holding it a certain way. I was like, so I spent like a long time, LT, fully blocking these things in pure white. Thought I had every angle. Then I airbrush doubled down on it. Then I fucking hit it with the yellows. Then I still discovered things were pure black in there still. Like, times 3, I was like, this is it. I'm done. I did a little bit of dry brushing, LT. But like like I said, there's like a perfect viewing angle when they turn on, you know? Like look at this back here. See how like that effect where like when they all line up? It's like an optical illusion. You see that?